Welcome to episode 13 of the Force Review. I'll be your host for the next few minutes. I'm an active patrol officer with 13 years of experience. I've been to just about every type of radio call out there, from stolen cars to pimping and pandering. Let's get to it. November 15, 2022, Austin, Texas. Rajan Moonesinghe appears to be either suffering a mental health episode or under the influence of narcotics. Mr. Moonesinghe carries a rifle into his driveway, points it at the street, then walks back onto his porch. Has he committed any crimes? According to Giffords Law Center, people are generally authorized to openly carry long guns in Texas, although state law prohibits people from displaying a firearm in a public place in a manner calculated to alarm. The last part of that statement refers to Texas Penal Code Section 42.01, which makes it a misdemeanor when a person displays a firearm or other deadly weapon in a public place in a manner calculated to alarm. A quick check on YouTube verifies that people can and do carry rifles in Texas in public. So Mr. Moonesinghe carrying the rifle around in his front yard pointed at the ground is definitely legal. But the moment he lifts it up and points it across the street is likely a violation of the penal code. Moving on with the video.
You want this? Are you sure?
Mr. Moonesinghe fires one round through the open door of his own home. From all my research on this incident, it seems that there was nobody inside at the time. So was it illegal for him to fire into his own house? Texas Penal Code Section 42.12 says, a person commits an offense if the person recklessly discharges a firearm inside the corporate limits of a municipality having a population of 100,000 or more. Mr. Moonesinghe certainly discharged a firearm inside a city with more than 100,000 people. But was it reckless? Let's talk about Mr. Moonesinghe's AR-15 rifle. It fires a .223 caliber or 5.56 millimeter round. Let's watch this guy shoot some steel with those rounds.
I cannot freaking believe this, but the 5.56 actually made it the whole way through. Well, I've definitely been shocked before, and this is one of those times. The .223 went straight through with that 24-inch barrel.
Now let's watch a 5.56 round versus wood.
Looks like it's stopped. Yes, it's actually inside there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and stopped in the 5th board.
You get the idea. These rounds travel fast and go through stuff. Here's Mr. Moonesinghe's house. It looks like there's some wooded area behind it. Still, there's a couple other buildings not too far away, and we don't know if someone's in that wooded area, so I'm going to call his shots reckless. Let's watch the rest of the Ring camera video.
It wasn't me! It wasn't me! Put your hands to it now! It wasn't me!
Don't forget that we have to judge the incident from the officer's perspective, so a lot of the things we just covered are irrelevant. Or are they? Episode 12 showed us that juries don't always follow the letter of the law. Sometimes they're influenced by other factors. And in this case, any potential jury may be swayed by the fact that Mr. Moonesinghe's reckless actions kicked off this event. But let's take a look at this event from Officer Sanchez's point of view. Here's the radio dispatch he got.
He pointed a rifle towards the street. He now has the rifle down, but still in his hands, white male wearing a gray robe, dark pants.
But that probably wasn't all the information Officer Sanchez had. He probably had additional information on his computer, relayed by the dispatch call taker. Here's the 911 call. Officer Sanchez may or may not have had all of this information.
There's a guy on the left side of the duplex approached me saying that he saw 2 suspicious people earlier and wanting to know if I saw them as well, and I hadn't. And he is currently running around outside with I believe, a rifle.
And
he's
is this
just
the person that
lifting it up and
approached you?
pointing it down the street.
Does it look like he's pointing it at anyone?
Currently, it's at low ready.
Does he appear to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol? You can't tell.
Couldn't say for drugs. He's definitely too coordinated for alcohol.
Does he appear to have a mental health issue?
No idea. But considering how paranoid he's acting, might be. He almost seems to be scared of something inside of his home. It looks like he's currently pointing his rifle at the interior of his home. Oh, he just fired.
He fired out to the street?
He fired into his home. The police are here.
Okay.
Fired again.
Okay. Oh, I hear it.
Here's Officer Sanchez's body-worn camera.
Draw the gun!
Where is he?
David 3 or 9 shots taken, suspect down.
Suspect's down, hands are up. Show us your hands, do it now!
So Officer Sanchez gets dispatched to a call of a man walking around with a rifle and pointing the rifle outside of his home. Just as he drives by the location, Officer Sanchez hears a gunshot. We don't know if he saw which direction Mr. Moonesinghe had fired when Officer Sanchez heard the gunshot, but as Officer Sanchez gets out of his car, he hears another gunshot. Officer Sanchez walks towards the residence with his rifle. He sees Mr. Moonesinghe walk out onto the porch with his own rifle in both his hands, pointed at the ground. Officer Sanchez orders Mr. Moonesinghe to drop the gun, but fires before giving Mr. Moonesinghe a chance to comply. Texas Penal Code Section 9.32 says that a person can use deadly force if the actor reasonably believes the deadly force is immediately necessary to protect the actor against the other's use or attempted use of unlawful deadly force. The question in this case, as with most of the cases we've reviewed, hinges on whether deadly force was immediately necessary. When I was in the police academy, one of the instructors posed a scenario. You pull a guy over on a traffic stop. The guy immediately gets out of his car and says, "I'm going to go to my trunk, get my rifle, and shoot you." You pull your gun, point it at the guy, and watch as he walks to the back of his car, takes his key out, puts it in the lock, opens the trunk, and reaches inside. Then you see the butt of a rifle in his armpit. Then he turns towards you and points the rifle at you. So at what point in that scenario has the deadly threat become immediate? Clearly not when the guy makes the threat, but surely when he points the gun at you. But in between those 2 points are a lot of gray area. Of course, the instructor didn't give us the answer. Police instructors and supervisors rarely give answers to questions like that. Officers just have to figure them out on their own. In Travis County, every police shooting goes before a grand jury to decide whether the defendant will be indicted. 9 out of 12 grand jurors have to agree there is probable cause for the case to move forward. This finding is called a true bill. If less than 9 jurors believe there is probable cause, the finding is called a no bill. In this case, since Officer Sanchez was dispatched to a man walking around with a rifle, he heard 2 gunshots when he arrived on scene, and a man approached him carrying a rifle, the force review predicts a no bill. Officer Sanchez was tasked into a dangerous situation. It is not reasonable to ask him to bear the additional risk of actually having a rifle pointed at him before he is allowed to defend himself. That's it for episode 13 of the Force Review. If you like our content, please hit that subscribe button, and we will see you on the next one.